Good morning, everybody. Here is an update on my standard butterfly bush, the two that I trained and then transplanted from the old house to this new homestead. You can see it's doing really well. It has actually performed like more beautiful than I can imagine, and it was really full. You can see the butterflies are all over it. There's a small, tiny one right there. Couple more over there. Now I did have an issue where there were spiders that got on this butterfly bush, and basically it was a butterfly trap. There were so many spiders on it that when I came out here all I could see was dead butterflies, so I had to remove those spiders, and now it seems like the butterfly is really enjoying this area. Also, the hummingbird moth, if you haven't seen one. Now, those are pretty amazing. Not as beautiful as the hummingbirds, but they fly almost the same as a hummingbird. They have that helicopter hum to them. So those are the butterfly moth that seems to really enjoy this butterfly bush, the standard. So it is about, I would say about 4 feet. It's leaning. You can see this one is leaning, and I should prune it back a little bit more so that it's actual like um, like a tree, which it is. But you can see I let this huge big massive branch right here kind of drooping on this side, so it's like all the way almost down here, and I just let it grow because it's the first year that it's actually been in the ground, and I didn't want to stress it out too much by cutting too much away at it. But you can see if I remove this branch, it'll actually make it more of a proper tree form, which actually I want to do that now because I want to take some cutting and root some cutting for comes next spring when I can plant a couple things. So let me put this camera down, and I'm going to go in, and I'm actually going to just remove this entire branch right here that you see. So then that's going to create this more of an upright as opposed to a slantward standard. Now when you create a standard, it does take more effort. It doesn't just happen that it forms into a beautiful tree and it stays that way. You're going to get suckers, you're going to get lopsided branches like this. So as long as you are aware of them, and as always, use them for more cuttings. That's what I do with mine. Down here, when I talk about suckers, this is what I mean. See at the base of it, it's going to create these little extra growth down here that it wants to just keep on sending out. And if you let it grow, you're going to end up with multi-trunk standard, or it's going to revert back to its bushy form. So like this one right here is almost enough that I can just remove it, which I will. I'll remove all of these suckers. I'm not going to be able to do anything with them because they're too small. There's not enough in them to root, so I'll just kind of come in and remove it like that. And you could see even at the very base it's trying to send up new growth. This one right here I can use to propagate, so I will remove it just by basically tearing it. This is another one, so you just kind of, it comes off really easy, so you just rip it off. Here's another couple of nodes that are trying to form. So I want to keep the tree or the trunk as, you know, as simple as it can get. And then over here, this is where I'm going to cut. I'm going to remove this huge branch right there. That's kind of invading into the other area. So give me one moment and I will get that going. Okay, so here we go. Like normally I would just come in and I would deadhead so I get more growth. You don't have to deadhead the this is the butterfly bush. You don't have to deadhead them, but if you don't, this variety will go to seed, and then it's going to spend more energy on the seed, and then you won't have as many flowers. So I'm going to just go in, cut it back right there, and you take this whole thing and you propagate it. You cut it to the stems that you want, and see how it now looks more I guess more of what you imagine a standard tree would look like. The cascading but not leaning all the way over. It is a little bit slanted, so when I relocate it to another area, it's going to look like this. So I need to put it and prop it up a little bit more. but it's gonna go dormant in a little bit. So when I go in to deadhead, see, these are spent flowers. These are spent flowers, and if you leave them on long enough, I don't know if I have any that actually has gone to seed yet, because I usually cut them before they go to seed, but these are spent flowers, and I cut it back. See, these are the two nodes that sends out new shoots, so I went back and cut right next to the next node so that another shoot will grow out of it. So that's what I mean when I come in and I deadhead. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, so that's what it looks like now, and I will just go in and deadhead it so that it will send new flowers. And I do this like maybe once a week. I'll go in and just kind of snip off all the old stuff. It's like giving your kid a haircut, right? And you can make it as tight and compact as you want, or as fluffy and big as you would like it, depending on where you want to deadhead. And I'm not going to bore you with all of the deadheading that I will have to do, but look at this, you guys. It's still blooming for me, and it's like mid-October. Aren't they beautiful? So I'm going to actually use these two standard butterfly bush as a flank for my Zen garden flower bed. So I'm going to definitely have to transplant it. But see, they're standard. They're on a tree. They're about 4 foot tall, I think. So they're doing really good, and I'm really proud of how they have taken into this new soil. I haven't really amended the soil at all. I've given it a little bit of food. Chicken poop is what we have over here to use, and they seem to be thriving. So they're doing well. Anyways, I am going to take cutting from them, especially, like I said, from this one massive branch that I took down. Here, let me show you really quickly how to do that, if you want to know. So this is how you propagate butterfly bush. I usually like to use the greener the better. So I would take a branch off, and then these are what we consider the nodes. This is where new branches will form and grow. So this flower right here, look how beautiful they are. This is like starting to bloom, and they smell amazing, you guys. Beautiful. When the wind catches them, you can smell, it's like a, I don't want to say it's a lilac, but I can't even describe the smell. It's kind of like a lilac, very fragrant. So then what I do is I strip all these flowers down to the two nodes, and then I actually remove some of these leaves. I'll keep those 4 in there, and then you just stick it in your medium or your soil, which I have over there. I'll show you in a moment once I get a whole bunch of these. Alright, and here I am. Finally got myself a whole bunch of butterfly clippings. These are the cuttings that I'll use. I've used fresh green ones all the way to almost to partial woody. See how it looks a little bit woody right here? If you look at it, it's not that green like the other one. This is more of a woody part. Now, it's not too woody, so it's still usable, but I actually like to use it when it's more like this. See how the difference in the branches? So this is more green and this is more woody. Now this woody is still from this year, so you can see here it's really green if you scratch it. So I'll use them both, but I don't go any further than that. Like this one, I'm going to try using this one, but this one is almost too woody. I scratch it to see how far I go in. Now, when it's too woody, I feel like it doesn't take as well. And I don't know if that's just my area or it just doesn't like me, but I feel like I have better luck with the newer stems. So I'm going to just remove these little section right here, and then I'm just going to stick this in and see if it will take. I damaged a little bit of the stem just so it would take, and just plop it in just like that. There's a bee over here that doesn't like me being over here. It's fairly simple to the technique, so I'm just going to go here and cut it right there at a slantward. Make sure that I get a node or two into the ground. So right there is the node right here and one right there. Just stick that in. And this is basically just topsoil. Just sticking them all in. And the more you put in, the more success you have. Not to say that this is 100%, but it seems to work for me. And I like to get more plants from my free ones that I have, well, from one that I have at the house, so I don't have to go out and spend more money. If I can root my own, I'm just damaging it with my nails. Again, you just take one. I'm going to remove these leaves. I'm going to damage the stem a little bit. Stress it out. And I'll leave this overwinter it outside. And there's nothing special about this medium. It's just topsoil that I've had in these containers that I've used to propagate. I don't add anything to it. No fertilizer.